Hello, Fempreneurs. In a moment, I will be joined by a power lifter and a personal trainer named Marilyn, who has a very unique ability in the work that she does with her clients and even in just the message that she has just begun to spread through her business that she started called MVR Fitness YYC. And she just launched her new website yesterday. So, Marilyn, I was just telling everyone about your exciting news.
So much fun. We've been building a website from scratch, which I got to tell you was kind of daunting, but it's really fun. The entire process, like MailChimp, holy smokes.
Right? That's like, how do you define MailChimp? Holy smokes.
Exactly, in blinking letters.
Right, exactly. With some beeps that are beeping out the F-bombs.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've been doing a fantastic job of bringing your baby business to life, nurturing it. We've spent a lot of time working on the language around how to describe what it is that you do through describing why you do it. So that's really what I want you to do today is just share your story. I titled this A Power Lifter and Personal Trainer with a unique ability, and that unique ability is an injury that you suffered that completely turned your entire life on its head. So take us back to your years of becoming a mom and to your corporate world, and then tell us about that incident.
Sure. So I grew up on this great farm, I had a great childhood, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, in small town Manitoba. But anyway, moved to Calgary when I met my second husband, Kevin. Met him, and it was kind of those old-fashioned romances, and it's just awesome. Anyway, we have between the two of us, we have 7 kids. You got that? 7. Anyway. The Brady Bunch doesn't exist, by the way, but it is wonderful. And I left my career in Winnipeg behind and had to start a career here. And I ended up in a corporate secretary role, which for those who don't know, it's a senior governance role in a publicly traded organization. And I was lucky to work in the international environment. And oh, so many great times. Anyway, through all that, 7 kids and moving and leaving some kids behind and starting this new career. And fitness had been off and on again, part of my life. And, I would have a trainer and I would do so well and I would fall off the rails for a year and start over again. Anyway, I got serious into lifting, and through a friend of my son's, he encouraged me to come and hang out with some powerlifters. Well, boy, was I in for a shock. I was so nervous about going to visit this group. And what I discovered was this beautiful group of kind, gentle beings, and where I fit in. So anyway, trained hard, decided I was going to compete. And there we were. Some of my days I was lifting 7,000 pounds all combined, and it was wonderful. Like, I felt so safe with my coach. And anyway, and then it was, one of those nights in October when in Calgary we get that rain and the snow. And I didn't want to walk my dog, but I had to. I'd worked late because I had one of those careers that, it wasn't an 8 to 5 job. It was an 8 to 8 job. So anyway, I, kind of said my prayers to the good Lord and said, okay, we're going to go for this icy walk. And I was probably about 1.5 kilometers from home, and I slipped and fell. It was dark out and it was cold. And when I fell, I went straight back. I was coming down a hill, hit the back of my head. I hit it so hard that I bounced twice before I stopped myself. Anyway, couldn't get up. And I didn't know it at the time. Actually, I was very, very fortunate that a couple came along and helped me get a hold of my son who came to get me. That injury, I went to ER, and concussions aren't necessarily diagnosed at the time they happen. They sometimes take 48 hours for the symptoms to appear, which was my case. And within 48 hours, I was in bad shape. I was dizzy all the time. I couldn't stand. It was pretty awful. Anyway, through some great therapy, I couldn't work for the next 3 months, trying to get myself back together. And I was finally allowed to go back and try to go to work, and bit by bit. Most exciting though, I was allowed to go back to the gym. No heavy lifting. I couldn't even walk on a treadmill when I first went. I had to hang on for dear life because I was still dizzy. My eyes were trying to get used to me walking straight. And my own trainer played catch with me with a great big beach ball, and all that I could catch. Anyway, I was so excited to be back in the gym because that's where I felt at home, and that's where I could watch people trying to get to their goals. So anyway, still not allowed to power lift. However, January comes along. A, I'm allowed to go to work. B, I'm cleared to go back to the gym and start lifting. And it was year end when I went back to work. The hours were even longer than they had been before, and the stress was high. And I wanted to compete in February. So this is when there was serious lifting going on. And in retrospect, I should never have been in competition, because when I look back, the symptoms had come back, but they were coming back in a different way, and I didn't recognize them. Mm-hmm. And I competed. I set personal best. My deadlift was 209 pounds. I was so proud. I was back at work full time. And then on March 11th, I could no longer read the computer. I couldn't walk in a straight line. Couldn't walk downstairs. My nervous system just shut down. And
so you went from being like completely cutting yourself off of everything you knew to just recover to just fully getting back into life the way you had been before.
Huge.
Or trying to. And your body just said, nope.
Exactly. I believe there's a book about that, when your body says no. And that was my case. My body just said no. And it's very common for post-concussion symptoms to come back. And there was a particular moment that I remember so well. Our house was full of people. It was during COVID. My granddaughter was here, and her brother was here. A friend of theirs was living here, and my son, and of course my husband. And we were trying to do something to fill the day. And we decided to have a bake-off. We're going to bake cakes and have a little competition. And I couldn't go from this, would take the measuring spoon from the container of sugar and remember what I was supposed to do with that teaspoon of sugar. And that's the day I knew really serious trouble. And
so what did you do from that moment that you just couldn't ignore it and you had to accept it, that you were going to be back into some sort of a rehab phase? And what did you do? Who did you contact? What did you do about this job that you were supposed to be working at? So how did you handle that situation?
It was really funny it's funny now. It was then that I knew I wouldn't be going back to work, that I recognized that there was no way I could handle that stress. It was the stress, the long hours, the screen time, all the things that concussion patients are not supposed to be doing. And I wasn't able to. Yeah. And I told the CEO that I was going to leave. It was both heartbreaking and actually it makes me kind of weepy now. Worked so hard for this career, and to have to walk away in COVID, which kind of like, on my last day, there really wasn't anybody there.
That might made it a little bit easier. Oh man.
The company was great to me. They supported me until I was, back off disability, and that didn't mean I was returning to work.
Right.
That meant I was doing something else. And I called my vestibular therapist, who they are magic workers. And
Vestibular therapist. What's their like niche?
So they're physiotherapists, and they specialize on connecting the eyes and the brain, balance and the brain and the nervous system. And once you figure out how you can, walk in a straight line and get your eyes aligned, that really helps the nervous system. And so for hours every single day, actually for the first while, there weren't any sessions because businesses hadn't figured out how to operate in COVID. So there were no virtual systems or appointments. But anyway, by April, they were there. And so she was meeting with me online, and I'm walking back and forth in the kitchen, one foot in front of the other. I sometimes spent 5 hours a day doing rehab because I was doing vestibular and I was doing occupational therapy. I had to learn how to read again. By the time I got finished one sentence to start the next, I couldn't remember what I'd read. There was just no short-term memory at all. Oh, I missed the part where my family doctor told me I had early onset dementia. That was actually my key turning point. It was right before I saw my vestibular therapist, and I was on a virtual call with my family doctor, and she said, I think you may have early onset dementia. And I just remember this, not a chance, because I had knowledge of concussions and what they do.
Yeah.
To know that that's where I was. And
so you immediately said, there's no way that's true. You're wrong. And you just ran the other way and sought out therapists that were actually feeling like they were giving you the right information.
Yes. So I went, for about 3 months, I spent about 5 hours a day in rehab and learning to do things like walking independently outside. It was so exciting. The very first time I walked to the end of the block and back, it was like, woohoo! The stairs, like 1, 2, 1, 2, not 1, 1, 1, 1, all of those little things that we take for granted, right?
So you had to like relearn how to walk, basically?
I did. I had an injury that was also caused by, I hate to say it, prep to powerlifting. And they were unrelated, but happening at the same time. So anyway, it was a pretty intense few months. And in there was the grief of losing my job. And, when you hold a senior role, it often defines who we are.
Hey Fempreneurs, Lyndsie here. I just want to hop in and just say a couple things that I feel are really important for you to know. You might be having fire lit inside you right now. You might be feeling like a stirring inside of you that you want to do something with your life, with your business idea. Or maybe you've got a business and you just know that you could be doing so much more with it and impacting so many more lives. I want you to head over to yycfempreneurs.com. There's a couple free gifts right there on the homepage. In order to get them, you're going to sign up for our email list. You can go ahead and unsubscribe after you do. Once you sign up, if you don't like it and you want to leave, you're always free to leave, but you do need to do that to get these free gifts. And what you're going to get is a 90-day planner, and you're also going to get a weekly journal. And it is really all my secrets to success, all the ways that I have become more consistent in delivering my clear message on social media. and by also connecting one-on-one through Instagram messages, through like holding live events, all the things that I do that you're going to need to do at least some of these things, maybe not as much or as often as I do it, but you're going to need to do this stuff if you want to impact more lives and you want to feel more fulfillment. So as you can tell at this point in Marilyn's story, she's realizing that she's got this whole new life ahead of her and she gets to define what that looks like. But that's a scary thing. The reason why you will stay in this place of fear is if you don't have a team, if you don't have women like me and like you around you. So I encourage you to get out of that room that you're in by yourself and move into a room with others. So not only will you get those free gifts when you go to yycfempreneurs.com, you will also receive invitations to show up to some free virtual events. So you're going to be live in person, but virtually. So no matter where you are in the world, you can hop on those virtual experiences, get some stuff done. You're going to be productive and you're also going to meet ladies like you. Or if you're in the Calgary area, you're going to get invited to some live in person events. You'll also be invited to join some, these are not free, but there are some paid group options that you can partake in where I'm going to be leading you and a group of up to 8 other women through some of my best marketing and leadership strategies. I'm going to train you to do exactly what I do because it works. I've got the proof in the pudding. A big thing that we're going to be doing early in 2022 is I'm going to be helping a group of women as I teach them about leadership and marketing. I'm going to help them get their first ever book on Amazon. And it doesn't have to be a full book. What it's going to be for sure at the bare minimum is about 100-page journal or guidebook or some kind of strategy, sequence of strategies that you already teach in your everyday practice. But I'm going to help you put that on Amazon to give you the credibility that has been so life-changing and exciting for me. Okay, let's dive back into the episode with Marilyn. And again, go to yycfempreneurs.com if you want to learn about anything I just mentioned.
Now what do you do with all this time, and who am I? And
so how long were you kind of sitting in that place of, having left your job, not being able to power lift, and just kind of taking care of yourself and figuring out who you are now? Like, how long was that phase? And then at what point in that phase did you think you might want to pursue the career you're in now?
It was probably about 6 months of what am I going to do? I'm a real go-getter. I enjoy life. And I had to believe that I was capable of doing something again because I wasn't certain I was.
Wow.
It was like, whatever could I do? Because even though I learned to read again, it was such tiny amounts, right? And so anyway, the gyms finally reopened and my existing trainer left and I got a new trainer, and she's an exercise therapist. Can I give her a plug?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. It is the awesome Karina Piccolo. And anyway, she is just magic. And she taught me a new way of coming to exercise. And she taught me about rehab for the body, which was about mobility and learning how to coordinate different parts of my body, and just the simplest things. How to get my foot off the ground, right? Sitting down, get your foot off the ground, controlling that little tiny movement. And I absolutely fell in love with that, right? Yeah. Took a body that still was not working 100%, and she was making these huge gains, and by doing hardly anything with me, like just tiny movements, but every day there was a bit more. And it just intrigued me. How do you do that? And one day I said to her, and I was so scared to tell her in case she laughed at me, right? And I said to her, Karina, I think I want to be a personal trainer like you.
Yeah.
Some of the others. And not that they're bad. This was just where I wanted to be and the difference it made in our lives. And
what was her reaction?
She was so excited. She just, over the moon excited.
So did she help you kind of point you towards your next step, like the course you needed to take or the training? Did she have?
No, she just said, you need to be certified. You want to follow these people on Instagram because they're going to help you, really kind of fine tune where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because this had not been my world, I really wanted an excellent basis of knowledge. And so I did a lot of research on who's going to give me the best basis of anatomy and how the body moves. And I have been in school nonstop since that day.
Okay.
Numerous certifications, and I'm still in school, and I love it. And Train is still my trainer. She's like my daughter. Right? Yeah. I could say I have 8 kids with her, but it's so empowering to now work with clients and put that into play and watch them achieve what I achieved. Right? And so those little things, it's like a client who had hip pain and all of a sudden their hip pain's gone. And it wasn't that we did huge movements. It's that we broke it down and fixed the muscular imbalance and started there.
Right. So you said this out loud to her that day, but when you said it, did you really believe you would do it? Did you really believe for sure that you were going to do it and become this person you are now, yeah? You never once thought this is going to be too hard. I'm not really sure. You were just like gung-ho, yeah, I'm doing it.
I guess I don't believe that you can't. And unless somebody tells you can't, you do it. Mm-hmm. I was so passionate. I guess my only concern was that I wouldn't be able to get through the material and read that amount of material and comprehend that material. Uh-huh. That was kind of scary.
Because of your injury, because of your brain injury.
Exactly.
Right.
But I realized that, I would read the material, and then I had several other like third parties that I was going to because they would present their material in different ways. And I just had to figure out who can teach me in the manner that I can learn.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of money going out of the bank account for a while on education as I tried to figure this out. And when I actually wrote my first exam, I actually didn't think I would pass. I thought this is a learning opportunity for me. And so I was writing my theory exam, and it was proctored, online. I'm done. And the lady said to me, "Would you like to see your results?"
Like immediately?
Yes.
And you're like, no, actually, I've got to not.
This particular exam was 300 multiple choice answers, right? And you had to figure out the math, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
I couldn't believe I had passed. I actually sat here dumbfounded, and then I was running around the house screaming for my husband. He was so excited.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It was so exciting. And I think that's the day I really believed that I was okay.
Good.
Right? The journey isn't over, right? I have instances where my symptoms come back and I have to pull back. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's definitely okay. And I think your first video that you posted on Instagram was about that.
Yes.
And you were bringing people into your life, into stuff that was going on, a few days before you made that video, and you're like, here's what's happening, here's what I've done, here's why I'm proud that I did that, and here's what probably would have happened had I not done that. And like you did a really great job of walking people through that. And and not even a testament to how to deal with post-concussion symptoms, but also just a testament to boundaries and to knowing what's okay and what's not okay. Mm-hmm. In this new phase of your life that is more about you, living the way you want to so that you can be of more service and use to others. Otherwise, you probably have to lay in a dark room for a few days.
Absolutely. And as we age, we need to give ourselves a break, and we need to put perfectionism away. And I think I sort of give permission to my clients to do that. Mm. When I have to step back, and when I show up at their sessions and I'm not using my iPad, but everything's written on paper, it's I can't do screens today. And so anyway, it has just marvelous, marvelous journey. And
so I want you to talk for a minute specifically to the women watching this, listening to this on the podcast, who are in that, I need more education. I'm not ready to open my business yet. I'm not educated enough. I'm not good enough yet. I'm not there yet. And they've maybe been in this phase for a year. Because you're obviously never going to stop taking courses and always going to feel like you want to learn more so you can give more to your clients. But you've opened your business. You've put the open sign on the door. You've got many clients right now. You're up and running, but you're still like, how did you go from that? How did you go from being in education mode to being like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this?
Well, I knew that as soon as I was certified in Canada, so once I was done that first certification, I actually had to go back. I had to do certification again in Canada. So same course, but in Canada, so that I could get insurance. And when I passed that course, or that certification, I knew that I could begin training. So it was just like, okay, I'm not entirely ready, and I'm going to make I work within my boundaries, but I'm going to start business today. And I hung my shingle on the what's that saying? I don't remember that one, but I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I like to say, you flip the open sign on the door, but yeah, it's to say, I think we're saying the same thing. Yeah. And I just started talking to anyone who would listen, and we're never going to be totally ready. Things will always change. We'll have to learn new things. We'll perfect things. Like I had done once, and then I had, I just, that's not who I am. I'm with Lyndsie figuring out what is my business and who am I serving. So ladies, don't be scared to start. Just start. And nobody's putting any boundaries around us except ourselves.
Right. Right. And there's somebody out there that wants the knowledge you have right now, whether it be what you think it needs to be or not.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I really love about you, Marilyn, is you're obviously a fairly confident person. I think, and I'm sure you built more confidence through taking some risks and doing some scary-ish things. So I guess, I just really wanted you to inspire those women who are maybe stuck in the preparation phase and really need to get into the actual business phase and the actual serving people phase.
Yeah.
And just stop listening to that voice saying they're not ready. Yeah.
You are ready. And you've got your insurance, you've got your business, and just start. And you can figure it out. I think perfectionism stops a lot of us from starting. And just start and have fun.
Yeah, and I've been so excited to do this interview with you, and I wanted to wait until your website was up, which we actually did publish yesterday. And there's a free gift waiting right on the homepage. The first thing you're going to see when you go to mbrfitnessyyc.com is a picture of Marilyn in 2014, looking a fair bit larger than she does these days. So, and some objections and things that she was telling herself back then. If you're someone that's been wanting to take a little better care of yourself, you know, break down the myth around what it really takes to lose fat and feel more, you know, mobile and flexible, and to be able to, like Marilyn always says, get down on the floor and play with your grandkids and know that you're not going to be screaming in pain when you go to get back up. But like, if you want to do all that stuff, that's what Marilyn is here to help people do. And
Yeah.
especially if you've suffered a concussion, then Marilyn has some you know, some unique perspective for you as someone who's been there as well. So go to mvrfitnessyyc.com, check out her new website, grab her free gift, which is 5 stretches for better sleep. So this is like a bedtime routine, right?
Yes. That'll
And
just,
a free gift.
if you've slept well.
What's that?
Those stretches will just make you sleep better, and that will support a better day tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So Marilyn's been working hard on her messaging. We built a really wonderful brochure, and we're kind of trickling a lot of that, you know, that messaging that we built out into your website in the coming weeks and months, and of course onto your social media platforms. So do follow Marilyn if you aren't already here at MVR Fitness YYC on Instagram. Check out her website. Marilyn, what would you tell your 10-year younger self?
Oh my goodness. I would tell her not to care so much about what other people think. And I would tell her to have fun and to be brave and to look after yourself.
Okay.
There's a lot of years I would had, and they're to be enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to leave with the fempreneurs watching, listening to this?
There is. I find there is a great deal of comfort and support in the YYC Fempreneur world. And
Okay.
it means a lot. You know, as someone who's a little older and social media is not really my thing, it has been really wonderful. And I encourage you to get outside your box and have a little fun and shake it up and try something new.
Marilyn, you do one-on-one training. You do different types of packages depending on people's budgets and time commitment.
Yes.
But overall, kind of walk us through what it would look like for someone to work with you. Like, you start with a free consultation, right?
I do. I start with a free consultation where we talk about your goals, what may have stood in your way previously, what gets you excited. We do a bit of assessment, and we kind of identify what are the big things that are standing in your way physically from you, you know, that may be causing you pain. And you know, you'll walk away with a couple ideas on how to, you know, work on that. Then if someone wants to work with me, I work both in clients' homes. So I bring all the equipment. You should see my car. If anyone ever breaks into it, they better be strong.
That's great. You have all the gear. The people that work with you need nothing to get started. Like a pair of running shoes would be great, and that's it, kind of thing, right? Like, you have all the things.
Yes. And I have a client that we work in a space that's about 4 feet by about 6 feet. So it kind of runs beside her dining room table. And we don't need a lot of space. Don't let that hamper you. And or I also work out of you know, 2 gyms in town through one for all fitness. I'm a trainer in those 2 gyms, and so we can do that if you're looking for a more, you know, typical gym experience. I have a studio in my house, and you know, for those who don't want to go to the gym but maybe want a bit more equipment, I want to introduce them to equipment. Then come here.
Wow, all the options.
All the options.
Yeah.
But what we do is based on your goals, based on what your body's capable of at this particular time. I develop a personalized program for you, and both to be used when I work with you and for what you will follow when you're not working with me on our off days. And yeah.
Nice. And, you know, it's all being curated for you by someone who's been there and been in pain and not been able to get down on the floor with the grandkids, and you're working with someone who's walked the path that you want to walk. So definitely get in touch with Marilyn. You can book that free consultation with her via her website under the contact me button at mbrfitnessyyc.com. Thank you, Marilyn, for being so brave and hopping on this Instagram Live. Was this your first ever Instagram Live, by the way?
First ever.
Look at this. All right.